the ocean was into the building.
It was like under. It was like one of those like bungalows.
Yeah. Like,
hey babe, for our next trip, I think I'm gonna book as an Airbnb.
I don't think so. We got some reasons why. So let's discuss. So in our intro, you saw one of the Airbnbs that we have stayed at. We stayed at one in Virginia that was like a caboose, which was awesome.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, we have stayed at 5 different Airbnbs over the past 3 or 4 years.
That's about right.
Yeah, so we'll talk about our first couple ones, and then we'll start getting into our reasons of why we're done with Airbnb. So with our first 2 Airbnb experiences, we had great experience.
Yes.
The very first one, we stayed at a tiny
home.
Tiny home, yes. Why don't you talk about it?
So I love tiny homes. I love the idea of them. I think I changed my mind after this one because the floor on the bed thing was not good for my old lady back. But
you have an old lady.
Yes. And so it was really cool. Like we got to have the experience of the tiny home. The area was nice. The home was clean. Everything was done up really well.
It was right on Lake Norman here in the Charlotte area, so it was really cool.
Yeah, they had like food and drinks in the fridge and stuff that were there. Like it was a very cool experience for sure.
Yeah, and our second one was probably about a year later when we stayed at in a caboose, like a train caboose, up near Roanoke, Virginia. Yes. It was a super cool experience. Like, I mean, how many people can say they slept in a caboose of a train? Just the area itself was really cool. The guy had like an antique store.
The property was really cool.
Yeah, so our first 2 experiences, awesome.
We were totally sold.
Yeah, it was great. Okay, so after those first 2 experiences, our last 3 have just been, So our third one, we stayed in Little Rock, Arkansas. My brother lives in Arkansas, so we were down there visiting. And the host was super nice. He actually let us stay a day longer than we were supposed to. But when we got to our place, it was in like a 7-8 story building in Little Rock. Like the air conditioning unit was dripping like water, all
big puddles. Like and he had like a bucket, if I'm not mistaken, that was just like full.
Yeah. So but like I said, the host was super nice, and we were like, whatever. We're it's not like we're staying in that place.
We're mostly there just to sleep.
To sleep. So so that was a kind of an experience. Our next one. So last summer, we stayed in North Topsail, North Carolina, one of the beaches here in North Carolina. We were super excited.
Oh yes, and we got there, and the ocean was like inches.
Yeah, so like
from our balcony.
We walked into the place and we're like, oh, you could see like the ocean from the balcony. Like, yes, like we were so excited because we hadn't seen the ocean in a few months or whatever. So we walk out to the balcony, and no lie, like I'm gonna put a video clip here. The ocean was into the building.
It was like under. It was like one of those like bungalows.
Yeah, like you can see like. So if you don't know the history of North Topsail, we didn't know until after we've been there. Mm-hmm. Like literally the ocean is gobbling North Topsail back up. And so like they have these massive sandbags to kind of block the ocean. So like literally for a good part of the day, like there's no beach for you to go on. Like at all.
It's water.
And so that wasn't like really clearly, it wasn't stated at all in the listing.
In the pictures, it didn't show ever. It showed that it was oceanfront, which we expected. And it showed these beautiful views of like the beach and all this stuff. And then, it was a mislisting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Overall, we had a good trip.
Yes.
But the initial shock of seeing the ocean literally like under the building, like
was a bit much.
It was a bit much. Okay, so our 5th and final Airbnb was this past summer.
This was the straw that broke the camel's
back. Yes. So we stayed at Tybee Island, Georgia. There isn't a whole lot of hotels on the island there themselves. There's a couple, but not many. And it's about 30 minutes from Savannah. So why don't you...
So, a few things. I don't know what you were planning on starting with, but one of the things that was kind of mislisted in the listing was that it was on the sound side of the island and not the ocean side. So it was more like we were staying at like a lake house than like a beach house. And that was pretty disappointing for both of us. It kind of was okay because our little one was only a year old and she really likes the water, and I wasn't being too worried about things like that. But it just didn't feel like we were at the beach. It just kind of felt like we were out like at some really nice lake. And so that was one thing.
Yeah, and there's two other things. And these two were kind of the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, these are bigger ones.
Like there was like nuts and stuff on the floor. Like
we found like pistachio shells, like underneath the couch and pushed underneath the rugs and stuff. And again, if it was just the two of us, we might have not noticed, honestly. But like our daughter wasn't quite walking
and she's
yet.
Crawling all over the floor.
And she's crawling all over the place, and they all put everything they find in their mouth, and so that could have potentially been, had we not been watchful.
And that goes to the fees, which we're going to get to here next. And then the last thing, or actually as one of the last things, like the dishwasher didn't work. Moldy too.
Yes, molded. And they never brought us our parking pass.
Yeah, and so like you're supposed to have a parking pass in this place because it was like a gated
community-ish
condo place. And so we messaged the person like, hey, we don't have like our things. Like, oh, I'll bring it to you. Never brought it to us. So like, you're slightly worried the whole trip that like our car was gonna get like towed out and stuff. Cause we don't know how strict those places are and stuff. So so we've had some really bad experiences. But even more than that, let's get to the fees.
That's it right there.
So let's just use Tybee as an example. So we ended up paying like $1,200 for like I think it was 3 nights we were there. Yeah, 3 or 4 nights. And like with all the Airbnbs, you have like a cleaning fee you have to pay. And so when we have these experiences where the place just isn't clean at all, like this place has mold and nuts and stuff, and you're paying these cleaning fees,
outrageous cleaning fees too.
Some are like up to like I've seen $150, $200, and I feel like personally that, and I don't want to make a blanket statement for all Airbnb owners, but I feel like a lot of them are just instead of paying it, because we have a person that comes and cleans our house every few months, one time every few months, and like they clean like the place.
Like, our home smells like clean. It looks clean. There's not a speck of dust or a fur ball from our dog or anything. So
I feel like a lot of these, or some of these people, are just pocketing the money and just cleaning it themselves, thinking, "Oh, I'll just do this and this, and then it'll be fine.
I'll just change the bed sheets and the towels and we'll call it a day."
And then like there's also like the Airbnb like fee. Like you can go from like the initial total is gonna look like it's gonna be $600-700, and then you look at the grand total,
the final total,
and it jumps like $400 or $500. And it's,
I think what fires me up about the cleaning fee is the cost is, like we said, we have the person who comes every couple months and does our home, but like I'm still having to clean. I'm still having to load the dishwasher. I'm still having to take the bedding off. So if I'm doing all of this to help prep, then like all you're doing at this point is re-putting new bedding on, bringing in clean folded towels that you've already washed at your own home, and quite possibly Swiffering the place. Like, why is it costing this amount of money if I've loaded the dishwasher and I've made sure the towels are in the right place and I've made sure that the shades are drawn and I've done all these other things? Like, where is all this money going? And I just don't like to end a vacation having to clean. That's part of my thing.
And my big thing, I'll just get into it right now. So I've known we were going to make this video for a while, so I've been thinking a lot about this, and it kind of hit me the other day. So like when you book a hotel, like you have your variety of price ranges when it comes to hotels. You have the ones that are really cheap. You have the ones that are anywhere between like $150 to $200, and you have like the super expensive ones. So like if you decide to get like one of the cheaper ones are like $70 or $80. Like when I go to a place like that, like I'm not expecting it to be...
The bar is low.
The bar is low, yeah. So I go into that place knowing the bar is low, and if the place happens to be nice, great. If the place is kind of then like
I got what I paid for.
I got what I paid for, and I knew going into it. When it comes to Airbnb, like Airbnb places, I have no idea what we're walking into. Like we just gave 3 examples of one where the air conditioning unit was pouring water from the ceiling, one where the ocean was about to gobble up the place we were staying at, and then the last place is just dirty and like
kind of pictured like it being oceanfront versus like soundfront.
Yeah,
like all kinds of things.
and dishwasher not working, all this stuff.
Yeah.
So like, and we paid a bunch of money for all these places. And like you don't know because people be like, well, why did you read the reviews? Yes, you read the reviews, but like the reviews are so mixed on all these places. Some people will be like, this place is great, I would stay there again. And then other people will be like, well, and so you never know like a true.
Well, and I have an anxiety on Airbnb of leaving a bad review because the person can leave you a bad review as the tenant. And I always have been fearful that if I were to leave a bad review, then they would leave a bad review saying that I left it in a mess, that I didn't do my part, I didn't clean up. And so
and because of that,
I don't leave reviews.
We didn't leave a review for the Tybee place at all. We didn't leave a review saying that the dishwasher was messed up and it was dirty and all that. So like the person coming behind us or a couple people behind us, they don't, because we didn't leave a bad review. So anyways, so with all these not good experiences, not knowing ever what we're walking into when we go to an Airbnb, as much convenience as an Airbnb gives you, because it gives you a lot of space and like you get access to places you wouldn't because there's no hotels in the area. I just don't think it's worth it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be doing that. So,
I mean, I know we're probably gonna get blasted by Airbnb owners and other people, but like, listen, if you can, not change your mind, but like if you have some input that maybe
maybe like a red flag that we're missing when we're looking at
leave them down in the comments below, or if you've had the same experiences, let us know too. So but yeah, I think we're done with Airbnbs.
Hotels for us. Bye, y'all.
See ya. These cats of ours, I love cats, but some days, oh my God, these cats.